You ever looked in a mirror and wondered, how did a walking, talking, thinking collection of cells actually get built?
Yeah,
Today we're going deep
it's a great question.
into some fascinating scientific books on human development to really kind of unpack and understand how a single cell transforms into a fully functional YU.
Yeah,
Buckle up,
it is.
because we're about to uncover some truly mind-blowing stuff.
It is really, truly awe-inspiring to think about just the level of self-organization that happens on a cellular level.
Right.
We're talking about literally a single fertilized egg going rogue multiplying
Yeah.
and specializing to
Yeah.
create every single part of your body.
I mean, it's like that one cell had the blueprint
It did.
for an entire human.
It did.
So our sources say it all starts with fertilization, right?
Yeah.
Sperm meets egg, you get a zygote, and then bam,
Yeah.
rapid cell division kicks in.
Yeah, that's right.
So within days, it's morphed into a blastocyst, a hollow ball of cells.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Nestled inside this blastocyst, there's a cluster of cells called the inner cell mass.
Okay.
And these cells are pluripotent, meaning they have the potential to become any cell in the body.
Oh, wow.
Bone, muscle, brain, you name it.
So if each of these cells can become anything,
Yeah.
what tells them what to be?
That's where the environment around them comes into play.
Okay.
The position of a cell within the developing embryo, the signals it receives from neighboring cells, even the physical forces acting upon it,
Interesting.
all contribute to its fate.
Okay.
So it's a dynamic process,
Gotcha.
not a predetermined one.
That makes sense. It's not just about having the right ingredients.
Yeah.
It's about putting them together in the right order at the right time.
Absolutely.
Speaking of order, how does the body establish the basic layout? You know, like knowing which end is up.
That's a question that has fascinated scientists for centuries.
Right.
It turns out that tiny hair-like structures called cilia
Oh, cilia.
play a critical role in determining the body axis,
Okay.
head to tail, front to back, and even left to right.
Wait.
Yeah.
So those little cilia are responsible for my heart being on the left.
In a way, yes.
Wow.
Our sources explain that there's a special group of cilia
Right.
located in a structure called the node, and these cilia actually spin,
Wow.
creating a subtle flow of fluid
Wow.
that influences the placement of organs.
It's incredible how something so small
I know.
can have such a big impact
Absolutely.
on the overall body plan. It's like a domino effect with these tiny changes early on,
Yeah.
leading to major differences later.
Absolutely. And those differences can sometimes be profound.
Okay.
For example, C-to-SYN versus a rare condition where the internal organs are mirrored is thought to be caused by disruptions in this early cilia-driven flow.
So something as small as a cilia can literally flip your entire anatomy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the basic body plan laid out thanks to those amazing cilia.
Uh-huh.
Now, how do we go from a ball of cells to actual organs?
One of the first critical steps is the formation of the neural tube, the precursor to the brain and spinal cord.
Yeah.
It starts as a flat sheet of cells that folds inward,
Okay,
creating a hollow tube. Think of it like origami on a microscopic scale.
and this folding has to be incredibly precise, right?
Oh, yeah.
One wrong fold, and you've got a problem.
You got it. Our sources highlight the devastating consequences of neural tube defects,
Yeah,
like spina bifida, which can occur if the neural tube doesn't close properly.
right.
And it really emphasizes the importance of understanding the molecular mechanisms that drive this process,
Right.
not just for treating these conditions, but potentially for preventing them.
It's a sobering reminder that even though this process is usually so precise,
Yeah,
things can go wrong.
they do.
So we've got the brain and spinal cord starting to take shape.
Uh-huh.
What about the rest of the body?
Yeah.
How does the embryo go from a tube to a body with limbs and segments?
That's where segmentation comes into play.
Okay.
The developing embryo gets divided into repeating units called somites.
So much.
Think of them like building blocks that will eventually give rise to vertebrae, ribs, and muscles.
It's wild to think that we still have remnants of that segmentation in our adult bodies, like the vertebrae in our spine.
I know.
It's like a glimpse into our evolutionary past.
Precisely. And you know, while the classic zip code analogy for HOX genes is a good starting point,
Yeah.
our sources dive deeper.
Okay.
It turns out that these genes, which determine the identity of each segment, are regulated by a complex network of factors. It's not just about location.
Right.
It's about timing interactions with other genes and environmental cues as well.
It's like those HOX genes are conducting an entire orchestra making sure each instrument plays its part at the right time
Yeah,
to create a harmonious symphony of development.
it really is.
So we have cells dividing, differentiating, taking their positions,
Yeah.
and becoming specialized.
Right.
But how do they all know what to do and where to go?
Communication is key.
Okay.
Cells are constantly sending and receiving signals, like a bustling city full of messages whizzing back and forth.
All right.
This cell signaling is essential for guiding cell differentiation and coordinating tissue interactions.
Can you give us an example of what one of these cellular messages might look like?
One well-studied example is sonic hedgehog,
Okay.
a protein that acts as a signaling molecule.
Okay.
It's secreted by the notochord and plays a crucial role in the development of the nervous system, limbs, and many other structures.
Interesting.
What's fascinating is that sonic hedgehog doesn't just turn things on or off. It creates gradients of concentration
Wow.
that provide spatial information to cells.
So the closer a cell is to the source of sonic hedgehog,
Right.
the stronger the signal.
Yeah,
And that tells the cell something different than a weaker signal further away.
exactly.
Right.
It's like a cellular GPS system guiding cells to their proper locations and instructing them on what to become.
It's mind-blowing how something as simple as a concentration gradient
Right.
can have such a profound effect on development.
It really is.
So we've got cells dividing, differentiating, migrating, and communicating,
Mm-hmm.
all in response to these intricate signaling pathways.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Well, the journey from a single cell to a fully formed human is far from over.
Right.
We've just laid the groundwork, so to speak. Now we need to delve into how this basic body plan gets elaborated and refined
Okay.
to create the incredible complexity and diversity of tissues and organs that make up a human being.
It's like we've built the foundation,
Right.
and now we need to start constructing the walls, the roof,
Mm-hmm.
the plumbing, the electrical wiring,
Yep,
everything that makes a house a home.
precisely.
Hmm.
And that's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive. We'll see how limbs bud out and elongate,
Okay.
how the nervous system gets wired up, and how the very essence of who we are, our sex, is determined at the molecular level.
This is getting me even more curious about how all of these intricate processes come together
Yeah.
to create a human being.
It's really fascinating.
I can't wait to unpack the next layer of this incredible story.
I know, me too. It's going to be awesome.
It is. So we left off talking about laying that foundation of the human body, but now things are about to get even more intricate as we dive into the construction of complex structures like limbs.
I'm ready to see how those tiny limb buds we talked about transform into arms and legs with all their intricate parts.
Yeah, it's a process that involves a symphony of signals and cellular movements.
Right?
Our sources explain that one of the key players is a signaling molecule we've already encountered,
Yep.
sonic hedgehog.
Right, that cellular GPS system we were talking about.
Exactly. And in limb development, sonic hedgehog is produced in a specific region of the limb bud called the zone of polarizing activity,
Okay.
or ZPA.
ZPA.
This creates a concentration gradient that helps determine the identity of the digits.
So the cells that are closest to the ZPA get the strongest dose of sonic hedgehog,
Right.
and that tells them to become pinky fingers, while the cells further away get a weaker signal and become thumbs. Precisely. It's a remarkable example of how spatial information encoded in a concentration gradient can shape the development of a complex structure.
It's like Sonic Hedgehog is an artist painting a masterpiece using a gradient brush
Yeah,
to create subtle variations in color and texture.
that's a beautiful analogy. And it's not just sonic hedgehog. Other signaling pathways involving molecules like fibroblast growth factors and WNT proteins also play crucial roles in limb development.
So it's a whole team of molecular artists working together to sculpt those tiny limb buds
Yeah,
into fully functional arms and legs.
that's right. And once those limbs start to take shape, the bones themselves need to grow and elongate.
Right, because a baby's arm is cute and all, but eventually it needs to grow into an adult-sized arm.
Exactly. Our sources describe how bones grow from specialized regions called growth plates, which are located at the ends of long bones.
Uh-huh.
Within these growth plates, cartilage cells are constantly dividing, maturing, and transforming into bone cells,
Okay.
pushing the bone outward and causing it to lengthen.
So it's like the bone is constantly being built from the inside out, adding new layers like a tree adding growth rings.
That's a great way to think about it. And those growth plates are incredibly active during childhood and adolescence, which is why we see such rapid growth spurts during those periods. But eventually, those growth plates close and bone growth stops.
Ah, so that's why we don't keep growing taller forever.
Yeah,
Our bones have a built-in timer.
exactly. And even though bone growth eventually stops, The bones themselves are constantly being remodeled throughout our lives, breaking down old bone tissue and building new bone tissue in response to mechanical forces and other signals.
So even though we can't grow taller, our bones are still dynamic and responsive to the demands we place on them.
Precisely. And this constant remodeling is what allows our bones to adapt to changes in our activity levels, our weight, and even our diet.
It's like our bones are listening to us, constantly adjusting and fine-tuning their structure to meet our needs.
That's right. Now, while we've been focusing on the limbs, let's not forget about the incredible development happening elsewhere in the body, like the nervous system. How does that intricate network of neurons get wired up?
I'm imagining it as a massive construction project with billions of tiny wires needing to be connected in just the right way.
Yeah, it's a process that's even more mind-boggling than you might imagine. It starts early in development with the formation of the neural tube, which we discussed earlier.
Right, that hollow tube that gives rise to the brain and spinal cord.
Exactly. And within that tube, neural stem cells are busy dividing and differentiating, giving rise to a vast array of neurons with specialized functions.
So these neural stem cells are like the master builders of the nervous system, capable of creating all the different types of neurons needed for the brain to function.
Precisely. And once those neurons are born, they need to migrate to their proper locations within the brain, guided by a complex array of molecular cues.
So it's like each neuron has a specific address and a set of instructions on how to get there.
That's a great way to think about it. And once they reach their destinations, those neurons need to connect with each other, forming synapses,
Okay.
the junctions where signals are transmitted.
So those synapses are like the communication hubs of the brain,
Yeah,
allowing neurons to talk to each other and form circuits.
exactly. And the number and strength of those synapses are constantly changing throughout our lives, shaped by our experiences and our environment.
It's like the brain is constantly rewiring itself, learning and adapting to the world around us.
That's right. And one of the most fascinating aspects of brain development is synaptic pruning,
Okay.
where unnecessary or weak synapses are eliminated,
Okay.
refining the brain's circuitry and making it more efficient.
So it's like the brain is doing its own version of decluttering,
Yeah,
getting rid of the connections that are no longer serving it.
exactly. And this process of synaptic pruning is particularly important during childhood and adolescence when the brain is undergoing rapid development and reorganization.
It's like the brain is a sculptor, constantly chiseling away at the excess stone to reveal the masterpiece within.
Beautiful analogy. Now, while we've been marveling at the complexity of the nervous system, let's shift gears and talk about another fascinating aspect of development sex determination.
Right, we've already touched upon the fact that the presence or absence of the Y chromosome determines whether an embryo develops as male or female.
Uh-huh.
But how does that actually play out at the cellular level?
It's a delicate dance of genes and hormones.
Okay.
Our sources explain that the SRY gene, located on the Y chromosome, is the master switch that initiates male development.
So if the SRY gene is present, the embryo goes down the male path. And if it's absent, it goes down the female path.
Essentially, yes. But the story is more nuanced than that.
Okay.
The SRY gene triggers the development of testes, the male gonads,
Okay.
and the testes then secrete hormones like testosterone and anti-Mullerian hormone that drive the development of male characteristics.
So those hormones are like messengers spreading the word throughout the body to develop along the male pathway.
Exactly. And in the absence of those male hormones, the female developmental pathway is followed,
Okay.
leading to the development of ovaries, the female gonads, and other female characteristics.
And didn't our sources mention that testosterone itself is a relatively weak hormone
Yes,
and needs to be converted to something stronger to have its full masculinizing effect?
that's right. Testosterone is converted to dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, in target tissues. DHT is much more potent and plays a crucial role in the development of male external genitalia, prostate growth, and other male secondary sexual characteristics.
So it's like a two-step process.
Yeah,
Testosterone sets the stage, and then DHT comes in and finishes the job.
precisely. And this intricate interplay of genes, hormones, and enzymes highlights the complexity of sex determination, a process that's still not fully understood.
It's a reminder that even though we often categorize sex as a simple binary male or female,
Yeah,
the reality is much more nuanced and fascinating.
absolutely. And speaking of nuance, our sources highlight some cases where the sex chromosomes and the hormones don't quite align.
Like those individuals who were born with seemingly female bodies but later develop male characteristics during puberty.
Yes, this condition, CON5 alpha reductase deficiency, occurs when individuals lack the enzyme necessary to convert testosterone to DHT.
So they have testosterone, but they can't convert it to the more potent DHT.
That's right. As a result, they may be born with ambiguous or female-appearing genitalia. But during puberty, the surge in testosterone, even without conversion to DHT, can be enough to drive the development of male secondary sexual characteristics, like deepening of the voice, muscle growth, and facial hair.
It's incredible how a single enzyme deficiency can have such a profound impact on sexual development.
It really underscores the intricate and delicate balance of this process.
And these cases also challenge our traditional understanding of sex as a fixed and immutable characteristic.
Indeed, they highlight the diversity of human experience when it comes to sex and gender.
Okay, so we've seen how limbs sprout bones, grow, neurons connect, and sex is determined.
Yeah.
What's next on our journey of building a body?
Well, we've laid the groundwork, constructed some major systems, and even explored the complexities of sex determination, but the story is far from over.
I'm sensing there's a but coming.
You're right. There's a whole other layer of complexity we need to address, how this incredible machine we call the human body maintains and repairs itself in the face of constant challenges.
Right, because building a body isn't a one-time event.
Yeah,
It's an ongoing process of maintenance, adaptation, and renewal.
exactly. And that's what we'll delve into in the final part of our deep dive. We'll explore the fascinating world of stem cells, the body's repair crews, and the immune system, our powerful defense force against a world full of threats.
It sounds like we're about to enter the realm of cellular superheroes and microscopic battles. I can't wait. Okay, so we've explored this intricate process of building a body from a single cell, watched limbs sprout, and marveled at the brain's intricate wiring.
Yeah,
Even the most meticulously crafted machine needs constant upkeep, right?
absolutely. That's where the remarkable world of maintenance and repair comes into play.
Yeah.
Our sources delve into two key players here:
Okay.
stem cells, the body's versatile repair crews, and the immune system, our ever-vigilant defense force.
Stem cells, those cellular chameleons that can morph into any cell type.
Yeah,
It's almost like having a built-in team of microscopic mechanics ready to fix any damage.
that's a great way to put it. Our sources highlight how stem cells are essential for replenishing tissues that experience constant wear and tear.
Right.
Take the lining of our gut, for instance. It's a harsh environment constantly exposed to digestive juices and the onslaught of whatever we consume.
It's a battlefield down there.
Right.
So how do those delicate cells withstand that constant barrage?
Stem cells to the rescue.
Okay.
They reside in little pockets within the gut lining, constantly dividing and producing new cells to replace the ones that are lost in the line of duty.
So it's like a cellular conveyor belt, churning out fresh troops to maintain the integrity of that gut barrier.
Precisely. And this remarkable regenerative capacity isn't limited to the gut.
Okay.
Stem cells are found throughout the body, ready to repair damage wherever it occurs.
Wow.
Take the cornea of our eye, a delicate and transparent structure, vital for vision.
Right.
If you get a scratch on your cornea, how does it heal without leaving a scar?
That's a great question.
Stem cells located at the edge of the cornea step up to the plate.
Okay.
They differentiate into corneal cells, replacing the damaged ones and restoring that cornea's clarity,
Wow.
often without a trace of the injury.
It's amazing how these stem cells can sense damage and spring into action like a well-coordinated emergency response team.
It really is. The body has an incredible ability to heal itself. Another critical example of stem cell action is in our blood. Blood cells have a limited lifespan, and they need to be constantly replaced.
Right. I remember learning that our bone marrow is like a blood cell factory.
Exactly.
Right.
Our sources describe how hematopoietic stem cells residing in the bone marrow give rise to all the different types of blood cells.
Okay.
Red blood cells to carry oxygen,
Huh.
white blood cells to fight infections,
Right.
and platelets to help with clotting.
It's like a cellular production line, tirelessly churning out billions of new blood cells every day.
That's a great analogy. And what's fascinating is that these stem cells are incredibly versatile.
Okay.
They can adjust their production based on the body's needs.
So how do they know?
Well, if you have an infection, for instance,
Huh?
the production of white blood cells ramps up to combat the invaders.
It's like the body has its own internal intelligence, constantly monitoring and adjusting
Yeah,
to maintain equilibrium.
exactly. Now, while stem cells are busy repairing and replenishing tissues, the immune system acts as our first line of defense against a constant barrage of threats from the outside world.
Right. The immune system, that complex network of cells and molecules that protects us from bacteria, viruses, and other invaders.
Our sources describe the immune system as a multi-layered defense system with both innate and adaptive components.
Okay.
The innate immune system is our rapid response team, always on patrol, ready to neutralize any threat that enters the body.
So it's like having a team of security guards constantly patrolling our borders, ready to tackle any trespassers.
Exactly. And those security guards have a variety of weapons at their disposal,
Okay.
including physical barriers like our skin and mucous membranes, as well as specialized cells like macrophages that engulf and destroy invaders.
So it's like having a microscopic army defending our inner world.
Yeah.
But what about the adaptive immune system?
Right.
How does that differ from the innate system?
So the adaptive immune system is our specialized force trained to recognize and eliminate specific threats. It learns and remembers past encounters,
Wow.
allowing it to mount a faster, more targeted response upon subsequent encounters.
So it's like having an intelligence agency that keeps files on all known enemies
Right.
and develops customized strategies to neutralize them.
That's a great analogy. The key players in this adaptive immune response are lymphocytes, a type of white blood cell
Okay.
that comes in two main varieties,
Okay.
B cells and T cells.
I remember learning about those in school, but I'm a bit fuzzy on the detail.
Right, well, B cells are antibody factories.
Okay.
They produce antibodies, specialized proteins that can bind to specific antigens,
Okay.
the molecular signatures of invaders.
So antibodies are like guided missiles, each designed to target a specific enemy.
Exactly. Antibodies can neutralize invaders directly or mark them for destruction by other immune cells.
And what about T cells? What's their role in this cellular defense force?
T cells are the hand-to-hand combatants of the immune system. Some T cells, called cytotoxic T cells, can directly kill infected cells or cancer cells.
Oh, wow.
Others, called helper T cells, orchestrate the immune response,
Okay.
ensuring it's efficient and well-coordinated.
It's like having a team of elite soldiers and strategists working together to protect the body. But how does this adaptive immune system learn to recognize all these different threats?
Right.
It seems impossible to have a defense ready for every possible enemy.
That's what makes the adaptive immune system so remarkable. It doesn't rely on having pre-made defenses for every possible threat.
Okay.
Instead, it generates an incredible diversity of immune cells,
Uh-huh.
each with a unique receptor that can recognize a specific antigen.
So it's like having a massive library of keys, each one capable of unlocking a different door,
Mm-hmm.
and the immune system just needs to find the right key for each invader.
That's a fantastic analogy. And this diversity of receptors is generated through a process called genetic recombination,
Okay.
where segments of genes are shuffled and combined in countless ways.
So it's like shuffling a deck of cards, creating millions of different hands from a limited set of cards.
Exactly. This genetic shuffling allows the immune system to create a vast repertoire of receptors, ensuring that it's prepared to face almost any challenge.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So when a B cell or a T cell encounters an antigen that its receptor can bind to what happens,
It's like a call to arms. The cell becomes activated and starts dividing, creating clones of itself
oh, wow.
that are specifically targeted to that antigen.
So it's mobilizing a specialized army
Yeah.
to fight that particular invader.
Exactly.
And some of those clones become memory cells, right?
Yes.
The ones that provide long-lasting immunity.
Precisely. Memory cells stick around long after the initial infection is cleared, ready to mount a rapid and robust response if that same invader ever returns.
That's how vaccines work, right?
The exact.
By introducing a weakened or harmless version of a pathogen,
Right.
they trigger the creation of memory cells,
Yeah.
providing protection without the risk of getting sick.
Exactly. Vaccines are a testament to our understanding of the adaptive immune system, allowing us to harness its power to prevent infectious diseases.
This is making me realize that our bodies are not just static structures,
Yeah.
but dynamic ecosystems constantly interacting with the world around us,
Yeah.
defending, adapting, and evolving.
You've hit the nail on the head. Our bodies are constantly in flux, a delicate balance between breakdown and repair, defense and adaptation.
Right.
And it's this dynamic interplay
Yeah.
that allows us to thrive in a world full of challenges.
It's a reminder that we are not just individuals,
Right.
but interconnected beings.
Yeah.
Shaped by our genes, our environment, and our experiences.
Absolutely. And as we delve deeper into the intricacies of the human body, we continue to uncover new layers of complexity, marveling at its resilience, adaptability, and sheer beauty.
It's been an incredible journey exploring this intricate process of building a body from the first division of a single cell to the remarkable systems that maintain and defend this incredible machine.
It really has, and it's a journey that doesn't end here.
Right.
There's always more to discover, more to learn, more to appreciate about this remarkable vessel that carries us through life.
So to all you listeners out there,
Yeah.
keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop marveling at the wonder that is what you. It's been a pleasure diving deep with you. Till next time, stay curious.
I second that. Stay curious, everyone.